Millionaire Hotline is brought to you by Aggressive Marketing Solutions. Are you a business owner who knows social media is a great tool to get more customers for your business, but you lack the time, energy, and creative resources to stay consistent enough to get results you're hoping for? Aggressive Marketing Solutions solves all those problems for you. Never miss an opportunity to capitalize on social media again. We will produce original content, post on a consistent schedule, engage your audience, and build lead converting ad campaigns. All you need to do is visit aggressive.com today to set up a free social media growth strategy meeting. Aggressive.com. You're watching the Millionaire Hotline, the entrepreneur's source for tried, tested, and proven business knowledge from successful businessmen and women. Nowhere else will you find $1 million worth of value jam-packed into short 30-minute episodes, all given to you for free. So get your notepad out and get ready, because this is the Millionaire Hotline with your host, Darin Huffaker. Enjoy the show.
Today I want to talk about just a few things, give you a little background on who I am and the experiences that I've had. I've owned several different businesses in multiple industries, mainly in the service business, but I've had experience in a lot of them, and I've learned a lot over the years. And so over the next few months or years, I'd like to share some of those experiences that I've had in hopes that it'll help some of you that are in business or are thinking about getting into business. What I want to talk about today is the different stages of business and where you're at. So as I go through these, just kind of picture yourself where you're in this business line. I like to line out businesses in 3 different stages. 1 I call the honeymoon stage, 2 I call the reality stage, and then the 3rd is the finish stage. If you look up any kind of statistics, 20% of all businesses fail in the first year. And that's what I call the honeymoon stage. You have an idea, you're excited about it, you go out, you do everything that you possibly can to be successful. You get up early in the morning, you're telling everybody about it. It's like when you first get married. Everything just seems happy. And then every once in a while you face a reality. I remember the first time that I drove my wife's car after we were married. Reality hit very quickly that this wasn't something that I should be doing. And so as we start in that honeymoon stage and we start to see things that bring reality to us. If you've been in a business, you started a business, you can relate to this, where you're so excited about it and just reality will just hit you here and there. But you just keep moving on because this is something you want to do. But some important things that I'd like to point out to do in this stage. Some of the very most important things is to decide why you're in business. Is it because you want to have more freedom with your time? Is it that you want to create a business that you can pass on to your children? Is it that you want to be able to retire? And it's important in this stage to determine what your end goal is. And it may change over time, but it's important to pick out what that is. So as you go through the next stage and the final stage, you can keep that focus. So as we move out of the honeymoon stage, if you've made it past that point, now some people will fail, and usually the people that fell in that honeymoon stage are people that decide to start a business just because they didn't want to be bossed around by someone, or they just thought it would be a good idea to start a business and didn't really have a focus or really a desire to take it to the end. Because when we move into the next stage, what I call the reality stage, if you didn't have an end focus, it's going to end in this reality stage. I like to, when we move into this reality stage, I like to compare it to when I get in a swimming pool. I have this habit of, after I've swam around for a while, I like to see how far I can swim by holding my breath. So I'll get in the water and I'll swim, and you can kind of see the end of the swimming pool. So my first go at it, I'll try to get from one side to the other, staying underwater the whole time and holding my breath. And it's a little bit of a stretch, but eventually I can get there. And then I think, okay, I can make it to one end or the other, and I keep doing that. And then I get to the point where it's just pushing my limits to the max. And if you've ever tried it, you're just like, man, you feel the burning in the chest, you feel exhaustion, but you can see the end there, and you just keep on going. Now, if you're not the type of person that can see the end and just push yourself that much farther, you're going to fail in this reality stage. It's 50% of all businesses fail in this stage. And a lot of them is they just can't push through that pain. If you didn't have a focus, if you didn't have your desires straight, you just won't make it through it. And I have experienced that terribly in business. And this is what really makes you a successful business person or not. And so you have to make those decisions before you even get into business, and face the reality that, you may not get a paycheck. You may pay your employees and go home and explain to your wife that there's no money to bring home. You may face the reality that you have to go to somebody like a parent and borrow money. I remember going through this and borrowing my parents' entire retirement fund to make it to the next stage. And that's a difficult thing for a business person. I remember, not being able to even provide a $1 meal at a Wendy's to be able to push it to the next stage, and just not having those funds, but just keep going. It's like picturing it under, trying to swim from one side to the other and your lungs just collapsing on you. And the toughest thing is, if you're married, go home and explain that to your children and your wife, that they can't have the things that they need. But in this point, it's the turning point. In our business, we continued to grow and grow, and we had to face reality at some point. Even though we were growing, we weren't making any money. And a lot of businesses will face that. They're getting the revenues that they need, but they're just not getting the profits that they need. And so when you're in this stage, it's important to sit down every morning and analyze what you can change in the business to reach the profit that you need. In our situation, we had to change how we communicate with our customers. We had to change the way that our staff was organized. We had to change the way that we had to bring on other software. I mean, we just had to analyze and take every portion of the business and figure out how to make profit from it. We also had to eliminate some of the services that we didn't make any money at. And that was hard to do because you're eliminating revenues. And as a business person, you're thinking growth, 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 and you automatically think it's a bad thing to not do certain things. But it's better for the business in the long run if you're not making any money. And those are some of the tough decisions that you have to make in this reality stage. And I can't explain how important it is to face those realities in that stage. The statistics say up to 5 years. I mean, that reality stage could change for your business. It could be shorter. It could be longer. But there are certain aspects that you have to face in reality in order to move on to the next phase. And it's important to keep your focus in this stage. One of the main reasons I'm in business is it gives me freedom of time. And that was one of the aspects that we knew when we started the business, that's what we wanted. And so when we looked at the business as a whole, we were working, in this reality stage, we were working 6 days a week and 12, 14 hours a day. And we had to look at working on Saturdays and determine if it was something that was worth the value, whether it's on my personal life or on my family's personal life. Was that weekend, were the revenues we got on the weekend worth the other loss in value? And we determined that it wasn't. We eliminated Saturday work, and it made a huge difference in our business, and that was just something that we could focus on. And then finally is the finishing stage. Now in the finishing stage, so at this point, only 50% of the people have made it. And they'll generally say this is going to happen between years 5 and 10, where you reach the finishing stage. When you get into the finishing stage, again, it goes back to what your focus was. My ultimate focus is to retire and not have to worry about business. And there's other people, again, that would like to push it on their children. And then there's other people that they grew a business so they can just enjoy a regular paycheck and enjoy time. Now, when you push into this finish stage, that's where you go back and analyze what your original goal was. If your original goal is to sell and be able to retire, then there are different aspects of the business you have to look at. Does my business operate without me? Does my business show a good profit? In order to get a high dollar amount, you have to be able to show a good profit. Are the people that are on your staff, are they top of the line? Are there people that if someone was to come buy your company, would they say, I want to buy this company because of the people that work here? And those are important things to look at. Now, if you're planning on passing it to your children or someone else that you're related to or a friend, then you have to look at the aspect of how the company is organized. Is the person that is going to replace me, do they understand the business? Can I have them understand the business? And then finally, enjoy time. And there are different aspects. So when we hit the finishing stage, we knew where our end goal was. So we continued to invest profits back into the business to continue to grow it. Now I have a friend that started in the same industry, in the same market, at the same time. And he made it through the reality stage about the same time as we did. But rather than reinvesting his profits back into the business, he decided to increase his income. And his company now is about 10% of the revenue that we do, because his focus was about the freedom of time and that focus rather than growing a business that could be sold. And there's nothing wrong with either one of them, but it is a decision that you have to make. My brother and I took half the income as he did over those years, and that income was invested back into the business, and thus gives us the opportunity to sell for a much higher profit rather than taking the revenues now. And so those are different things. Now, danger moving into the finishing stage is that still there's another 20% of the businesses that fell. So in that finishing stage, now we're talking from beginning to the end of the finishing stage, 70% of all businesses fail. When we went through the reality stage, 50%, so now we have another 20% that fail in the finishing stage. And why is that? Well, I have a good friend that had a business that failed in the finishing stage. And what tends to happen is that when they move into that finishing stage, you get comfortable with life and you take your focus off of the business. This particular friend, he had the desire, he loved to hunt and fish. which I absolutely do, but the balance between the business and what he wanted to do was not there. And so he took his eye off of the success of the business, and in return, his business began to fail. It began to lose revenues. And as a result, he had to sell the business for less than what he had originally bought it for. So it's important to move into that finishing stage and again, keep the focus of what your final desires are. And so just again, going from the beginning, why are you in business? Once you're in business, can you keep that focus? And then finally, when you make sure you have a finishing plan, whatever that might be. Again, grateful for the opportunity to talk to you today, and hope you all success, and look forward for any questions that you may have. And I'd love the opportunity to answer and help anyone in the business aspects. This is Millionaire Hotline, and we'll talk to you soon.